Oh my goodness, honey, I am live. I am live. Y'all have given me such an beautiful gift, amazing gift. Hold on, I just realized my tablet is charging, but my microphone wasn't in. Yes. I'm so excited. Wasn't sure button. When I pushed the little plus sign, I realized there was a button to go live. Actually, that was just like a couple minutes ago. So I went ahead and poured myself a shot in case it was real. It's real, y'all. It's real. Mm. Because we're live, I'm going to go ahead and not do the whole shot. Can't edit out me being embarrassing as shit. So we're going to do a card for me and a card for you as always. We'll do a quick update though first. Today I'm so tired. I had to do my kids' hair. I did my daughter's yesterday, took out her yarn braids, put into like French braids, I guess, two plates, the yarn and tied them up so she has like two colorful loops right here. She loves it. She thinks she's a princess. And then today I did my son's hair, which usually I do his in single strand twists, but it was just so difficult taking them out from last time. He has been like just not, wrapping his hair up at night. His hair was just terrible to work with. And so, well, I thought it was pretty easy, but he was not having a good time. So at any rate, when I was finished, I thought to myself, because okay, the rapper Pop Smoke got murdered earlier this year. My husband was is one of his fans, kind of. My husband's not really a fan of people. He's just a hip hop head. He was a b-boy back in the day. Hello, beloved. Thank you for stopping by. So he basically he's not somebody who likes specific people, but he was really upset about braids. And I thought that was pretty fun. But y'all, my back after doing my kids' hair, that alone is why I will not have more kids. Like, it's too much work. It's just too much work. The other thing I wanted to talk about is kind of the election because y'all, I had like such a weird response to it. On the one hand, I was really be rejected, even if it wasn't by people as I would hope. It felt good to know that the next president, I won't have to hear about them. I will not have to. And like, I've been seeing people just bring up things that I've never seen them talk about before because they also feel like they don't report on Trump. Like Bo of the Fifth Column today started talking about pronouns, and I was like, he's talking about something that isn't Trump or federal government related. Like, this is the freedom we have to talk about other things. It makes you think, like, what were those things that we couldn't even talk about for so long because we were so busy every day worried about what Trump was doing, worried about. Okay. So, my internet is not that great back here. Okay. So, anyways, what I was talking about, I was like, so I was kind of caught up though, because on the one hand, I was really happy Trump was gone, but on the other hand, I wasn't really excited about who had come into office. And I kept doing this weird under Kamala. You lived under, Biden. You've done this before. And then finally I was like, just just be happy for a second. Just mourn like those last 4 years, just release that stress. So I let myself just have like a really good cry. I'm not even actually. I let myself like cry when I call her Mala, but that's because I've been calling her that since before she even tried to run for president because I've lived here in California under her. But when it's like she knew what she was doing when she played that music coming out and just seeing a woman who had people of color heritage, it was just anything of substance. So I was just like, at that moment, I pulled myself together, like, okay, I'm very happy for all of the people that this inspires. I'm happy for myself, but at the same time, I need to be realistic. This is Biden and, you know, Harris. This isn't anything that I wanted or voted for. This is just, it is what it is, you know? So at any rate, I had to get that cry out. I had to get that cry out for all people of color. I had to feel that pride for Black people, for women, for Indian people. People keep calling it East Asian, but let's be real. Like, if people were taking bets on who of the beyond Black would be the person of color in a position of power, I'm willing to bet people would have chosen a much lighter skinned Asian. They probably Chinese or Japanese, and that's to do with our stereotypes here. So the fact that she was half Indian, I think that's a source of pride. And I saw people actually feeling proud, Indian people. Like, that's not people you usually see feeling proud in American comment sections. I think that was pretty cool. And I do have to give credit to that for what it is, because it's something. It's something. It's not all I wanted. I wanted Medicare for all. I wanted a much more cohesive plan for Mother Earth. But it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna do some cards. I pulled both of ours. Okay, so mine, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what's going on here. And thank you to whoever is watching this live, honey. I just saw my live button. I just saw it. I'm so excited. Y'all just gave me such a fun gift to let me go live on my tablet, on my mobile devices. Okay, so I have no idea. We're doing the Hoodoo tarot today. I had all my tarot here. I had the grandma babies ready. I had my bone set ready. And I was just like, girl, I don't think you're ready for the bones live yet. So, like, I just don't even know how to set up the camera and everything. I'm wearing a dress. So I was like, let me just do the cards. So at any rate, we're doing this. I highly recommend it if you're somebody who wants to learn a little bit more about Hoodoo, about root work, because they talk about it. She talks about it. Team talks about it here. Other decks are a bit more vague, intuition, or you would know the symbolism of the community. But this one actually teaches if you are a Black person trying to learn. So I think that's important. We need to have some of that. So at any rate, I don't recognize this picture, but look, y'all, she's holding in her hand, I think I see a cigarillo, maybe it's a cigar. That tobacco, I keep saying, it reoccurs. It's not healthy for you, but it's a plant that the body definitely has a connection to, because we worked on the fields with it, and also we've just used it in root work so often. So if worst comes to worst, you could put some loose leaf tobacco for incense, and it could work to cleanse your room. You don't have to use sage all the time. So at any rate, your card though, Bishop CH Mason, uh look at this. He was the one who started the Kojic church, which is very Christian, but look at what he was doing. He was infusing conjure into the church, which a lot of people gave him flack for, but he was like, honey, if we believe in God made the earth, how am I not allowed to use the earth to do divination, to do healing, to do all these things? Like, he understood conjure to his soul. So that was your card, beloved. You got something good right here. But I'm not as familiar with this deck yet. And also this book is a clear treasure trove. Sometimes you just be amiss to not read it. So at any rate, I see yours is page 39, but where is okay, I'm all the way in 90. Let's see where we're going with this. Oh, this is from my last reading. Look at this card. Look at these cards. Worth it. Where was I said page 90, didn't I? Okay. So let's see. The plant is rue. That's another really rue and hyssop I've noticed. And there's just a lot of traditionally African American plants that I've noticed you just don't see are that popular among the Blacks claiming African traditional religious community. For whatever reason, we've got really caught up with sage and Palo Santo, which if you're like Afro Latina, please, you are allowed to use Palo Santo. But and if you're native mixed, you're allowed to use sage, but and anyone's allowed to use them and they have some sort of spiritual cleansing. But it's that bloodline connection to certain plants that about what your ancestors worked with, what they understood, what your bloodline has built a connection with. And so rue is definitely one of those plants that I encourage people to look into if you're just interested in that. So we have the mother of knives, depicted here as a member of two prestigious secret societies, the Grand United Order of Oddfellows and the Order of the Eastern Star. And there was a period of time in the early 1900s, late 1800s, where a lot of Black people, I want to say it was 80% of Black people were not Christian when they emancipated us. That is fact. They did not consider themselves Christian. They considered themselves African traditional religious, whatever it may be. And often they would covertly cover a lot of our churches built, because we found a lot of lucrative opportunities to connect as a community. Before we had hotels that were desegregated, it was the church that would set up so you would have a place to stay when you traveled. So the church had its role, and there's a reason it really grew, but it wasn't that big initially. So there was really a movement where a lot of people were creating where you would see people like this, is what it's saying, is she's one of those people. And then also you had other people who were taking those ways, the old ways of taking care of the community. Midwives also, you'll see a lot of midwives were also into root work. And it was because of this. There was a spiritual and herbal component, and we weren't allowed into the traditional. And then all of a sudden the traditional imposed itself upon us, was like, you're doing it all wrong. The real reason is not racism. It's that you don't wash your hands. It got real, but we'll talk about birth work and racism another time, honey. I could do a whole video on that. So we had, in addition to the church, mutual aid, secret societies, and fraternal and sororal organizations were the backbone of Black American communities between the 18th and 20th centuries. I should have done it right here way more concisely. So, unlike women of the races, Black women were welcome to participate and were respected as powerful leaders and influencers of many of these organizations. This is very true, and it is also very African. It did absolutely come from a very African understanding of this, which we carried absolutely through chattel slavery. So, here, the mother of knives is a powerful bibliomancer who uses the Bible as a guide. I love this because bibliomancy is definitely my shit. I have just a shit ton of books, and all I ever do. In fact, I'm very known for just taking the book of Dust to Onyx Tarot is I do it all the time with that book, because it's all in like color, glossy, sparkly, just perfect. And I always just do bibliomancy, flip through it. I also love to do it with The Art of War. When you need to like have a battle message for yourself from your ancestors, I highly suggest that book, especially because my copy of The Art of War was $1 at Target once, in one of those bins in the front. Like, that book is so easy to get your hands on. The Bible is also so easy to get your hands on. And then I also use that's a spell book, and it's amazing for using for bibliomancy. Here is about the warrior queen. On the positive side, she's perceptive, analytical, forthright, witty, independent, resilient, highly intelligent, deep, and sets clear boundaries. Is this card trying to flatter me? All right. So on the negative, cold, hard, aggressive, and bitchy. Yeah. Okay. I will take that. In a reading, if she doesn't represent a literal person, then she represents those attributes. Now, that's absolutely something I can see. I the perfectionist part especially stood out to me, because I actually mentioned the quilt. Somebody reached out to buy it who I've known for a long time. I would have never expected. It's just kind of like, yo, I've seen your journey, and I have had a similar one, and that quilt needs to be mine. So anyways, I was thinking about being too much of a perfectionist on these things, even though it's my first quilt, and I think I'll get better as I go along. It's okay to be letting these things go, even as I think I'll be better in 5, 10 years, you know? I think it will be okay. And that's something that's kind of been on my mind these last few days. So your card is page 39. Whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. James 4:17, the plants, cedar and mustard, things that start from a small seed and grow very large, right? I always thought that was interesting as a girl. Mustard is my favorite condiment, and I always thought it was very crazy how the mustard seed is so tiny, but the tree is so what his spiritual baptism looked like. So if you look up this picture, you will not see him with white eyes or any sort of decoration on his chin. You will see him with all of his, he especially worked with twisted pieces of wood. So you see people like me, I have like a bone kit, right? And it's got charms in it, it's got button 9 leaves, and they will do divination, 9 pieces of bark. Who is it? There's this man who goes by Medicine Man, but he also goes by Charles Mason. Clearly, that is likely not what his mother named him. But I've studied under him many times, Medicine Man, and he will read things like he'll read coins, he'll I can't remember other things, like, but it's nature based. Some people are so natural, they don't spend a dime, you know. You see people out here, I like me, I do this because I want to support Black women who overwhelmingly seem to be the artists of these decks. But you know, some people out here don't spend anything ever. They will go outside and find 9 pebbles, 7 pebbles, 5 pebbles, what have you, and do the work. So at any rate, that's what I wanted to say, is there is a little bit of an artistic interpretation with this image, but this is a real image. He really put out all of his twisted pieces of, you know, uh what are they called, branches and twigs that he had collected on his nature walks, which he did, you know, younger, and then he continued to do, pass on to the next generation. So the previous generation was who taught him. He said this about the moment the Holy Spirit visited him: so when he had gotten me straight on my feet, there came a light which enveloped my entire being above the brightness of the sun. When I opened my mouth to say glory, a flame touched my tongue, which ran down me. My language changed, and no word could I speak in my own tongue. Oh, I was filled with the glory of the Lord, satisfied. Okay, wait. I've actually read this part from his story, and so this kind of sounds like he was alone. But actually, what he's referencing right there is when he went to LA. Yo, there was this moment where a bunch of there was something that was happening. Obviously, there was an event which a bunch of people came to, but there was just a bunch of, I want to say 5 to 9, when they dispersed from this event, they all had spiritual awakenings of their own, started churches, started movements, or inspired a generation that did the same. And I think that's such a powerful lesson, because for you, I would say that's such a reminder of the ripple effect, the ripple impact. Who showed up were touched profoundly by the experience, to the point where they were able to come home. Like, Charles went home and he was preaching a different kind of gospel, a very natural kind, a very down to earth kind, to the point where his own wife was like, you are a blasphemer. I can't even get down with anything you are saying, because it's not what any. And literally they divorced, and he did not remarry until the way, like 5 or 6 years after she passed away. He remarried, and he was with that woman until the day they passed away. But she literally left him. It was such a profound change from what anybody had understood. And I think understanding that shedding, I can't even imagine if I came home and my husband just didn't want to hear what I had to say anymore. He was like, she's fucking, is such an important lesson. Wow. You know what? I'm feeling way more inspired by your card than I am by mine tonight. So let's move on. Bishop Charles Harrison Mason, 1866 to 1961, was a Pentecostal holiness denominational leader and the founder of the Kojic Church, which and he was the chief apostle of this is the Church of God in Christ, which you will see a lot of Black people are still a part of. It is one of the biggest, y'all. It not only did it spread throughout the United States. If you don't know what the Kojic Church is, that's pretty surprising to me. If you're Black and you don't know, it's pretty surprising because they're pretty popular here in the United States. They went to Africa. Kojic had more than 4,000 churches and 400,000 members in South America, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the USA. Today, they have 6.5 million members and 12,000 congregations around the world. Now, I'm not sure because I wasn't raised in that church, and I have no interest really in to think people around who are able to offer some sort of insight into what you're going through. I'm sorry, my connection's kind of fucking up. I'm in the back of my house and I didn't really think of this before I tried to go live. So let me finish up. He represents conventional wisdom, but also it's about adhering to certain rules, but also expand. Rules can guide and strengthen you, but also how you can strengthen and guide the rules. So you can be yourself and still have this power. You don't actually have to be dressed the conventional way to be understanding of your spiritual, educational, your workplace, what have you to none, because they're just going with the flow. They're playing a part. Whereas if you actually understand what you're doing, it's a much more powerful position to be in. So that, I think, is what this card is really encouraging of you, is to understand where you're supposed to be in this, and to understand that you can push the boundaries, that it's not just about you following the rules all the time, that when your intuition speaks to you, it can be something great. It can be something great for you, your family, your extended community, your workplace, whatever it is. I think applying your own touch can absolutely impact you for the better. Have the money, help support this deck, help support this deck. Go to Bones and Curios. What is it? Oh my gosh. Let me put this link in the bio and just stop talking. Whatever. Go ahead and support a Black woman today. All of these are made by Black women, and I'm just so excited using this privilege, find some things to do. And I have some other fun videos to make now that I have finished the 2021 spiritual planner. Keep in mind, I give that away for free. Ritualready.com. In the next few days, I ordered a author copy of the planner just to make sure, because I put some kind of smaller print this time and I don't want to release it unless it's actually readable. Like, even that's what it is, or if I should just make it into 2 pages for all of these things, I don't know. But at any rate, I always release it for free in PDF form. So if you're the type of person who can't purchase it, you just do things on the computer, or you have a printer of your own and you just want to print it, or you have a place like you can print it at work or something, do that. That link. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing, those 1,000 plus people who did. It's so cool to have a community, page and be able to post those things. I'll post my kids' hairdos so you can see them. And yeah, oh, what a fun babbling session. Let me finish the shot. Cheers to you. Thank you so much. Mm. Oh, goodness, tequila is a hell of a drug. All right. Have a great night, or great day, great afternoon, whatever, morning, whenever you see this. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads.